Hello, children. Yes, I know, an anime review, right? Oh my god, my first one. We gotta celebrate. Wait for it. That was necessary. Yes, my first anime review. Oh my god. For those who don't know, no, I don't watch anime until now. Because now I'm watching anime. Now, it's not an anime show, but I'm dipping my toe in the kiddie pool, you know, baby steps. But I'm basically on the verge of finishing Cowboy Bebop, so maybe I'll do a video for that. But I wanted to talk about this movie today because, you know, I saw it and I've actually wanted to see Akira for a long time. And yes, I might be saying it wrong, but apparently there's like 5 different ways to say the title of this movie, so I'm choosing one of the 5. But yeah, I've wanted to watch Akira for the longest, and you know, it's always been in my Hulu thing. And they announced that Taika Waititi's gonna do the remake of it, which I'm very excited for now. But yeah, so here we go. I have Senior Jaden, who has not been on one yet.
Akira.
Who he knows more about anime stuff than me, way more. I'm
As
like
Tyler says, he dipped his toe into the kiddie pool. I'm deep in the ocean.
Yes. He is like, when I am with Marvel and superheroes and shit, he is with anime. So, you guys know how I do this. I'm gonna give you the good. Oh, let me talk about the movie first. So, Akira, let me get this really quick. I should have had this ready, but you know, uncut. Akira came out in 1988. Holy dog shit. 1988. When anime wasn't really, you know, a thing yet. It was kind of...
Things were taking off.
Yes. In 1988. And it's really sad that some of the animation in this movie looks better than some of the animation we're getting now.
That's a fact.
So, anime is about a secret military project that engages Neo-Tokyo. This takes place after World War III. It turns a biker gang member into a rampaging psychic psychopath who can only be stopped by 2 teenagers and a group of sidekicks. Does that sound fucking crazy? Because it is. So, what did I think of Akira? Well, I think this movie's fucking awesome. Right off the bat, I really liked Akira a lot. You know, you guys know, I love movies like Joker and Annihilation that just leave you confused, but in all the right ways. Not like, you know, Transformers The Last Night, where I'm sitting there confused at why I wasted an hour and a half of my life, or 2 hours and a half of my life. But, you know, with this, and it's like, oh my god, what happens, you know? So, I'm gonna go over what I really like. I'm not gonna ask Jaden what he thinks, because I already know he fucking loves this shit. I mean, am I correct, or am I incorrect?
It's in my top 10 favorite things to ever exist in this world.
I'm very correct. So let's talk about the good. Biggest positive I can give this movie. The motherfucking animation. Holy shit. This animation is epic. This animation is epic. I love it.
Something coming out in 1988, it was really good.
This animation is epic. From the opening shot where the city blows up, I was like, holy shit. First of all, the opening scene in this movie is incredible. It sucks you in like a motherfucking vacuum cleaner. I was like, holy shit. You know, it was all ominous, you know, no music was playing, it was just imagery, and I was like, yo, this shit is gonna be fucking amazing. And I was right. But the animation in this movie, you know, the explosions look amazing, the driving sequences, that great highway chase with the motorcycles, when, you know, you have the lights coming off. My friend Miguel compared it to Speed Racer in terms of like the lights coming off the motorcycles. You know, this shit looked awesome. you know, and the facial expressions, everything. There was not one bad shot. Even the CGI, where you can see the CGI, did not look okay. Maybe the shot where like the doctor was looking at the DNA for Akira and Tetsu and that shit, and that kind of looked a little wonky. But you know what? That's one nitpick. I don't care. The voice work is also very good. You know, I watched it in sub because I was like, fuck it, why not? And voice work was really good. It was on point. The story is so interesting. So this movie starts off, honestly, from the poster of this movie, I did not expect any of the shit that happens in this movie to happen at all. I thought it was gonna be like something of like gangs and shit. Like, I didn't expect that. This movie starts off, the world is basically fucked. It's like it's like Mad Max, but the world necessarily in terms of its structure with buildings and shit, it's still intact. But in terms of civilization and people, that shit is gone. Everyone's fighting each other. There's terrorists blowing shit up.
Societal structure is horrible.
There's people blowing shit up non-stop, mass shootings, gangs. It's insane. And it's a really cool world, you know. And then we get involved with, you know, we start the movie with this big motorcycle action sequence, and you're like, oh, there's probably a gang war, and you know, that's cool. But then you see this guy walking around with this little kid, and you can tell immediately. I thought it was just the lighting of the movie. I was like, oh, maybe it's just the darkness or something. This kid looks fucked. He looks like a motherfucker from The Walking Dead. I was like, what the hell? What the fuck is wrong with this kid? So the kid stumbles on the highway, and then all of a sudden one of the gang members, Tetsu, probably the main character, probably not, I don't know. I'd say Canada's the main character, but Tetsu stumbles upon him, and he crashes into him, a huge fucking explosion that I thought killed him. I was like, whoa, is this kid like a nuke or something? But no. So Tetsu runs into him, and he starts having all these visions, and he's like hearing this voice telling him Akira, Akira, and you're wondering throughout the whole movie, what the fuck is Akira? Is it a person? Is it a thing? We find out that Akira is an energy source. It's like, it's energy that everyone has. And immediately at first, when they revealed that, and they revealed that Tetsu, you know, he wanted this power, I was like, oh my god, how many fucking times can we have a movie where it's like, oh, somebody's power hungry, you have to stop him? But then the movie takes a really big twist. The movie has it that Tetsu, he doesn't necessarily want power. He just wants to be looked at kind of as an equal. He's tired of being like babied around, you know, and I really like that. But the movie takes another twist by throwing in the fact that, oh yeah, Akira can't handle the power. I mean, Tetsu can't handle the power at all. And the third act of this movie is insane, to say the least. The third act of this movie is fucking nuts. Literally, I think my jaw was on the floor for most of this third act. It was nuts. You know, again, I gotta touch base back on the animation. That scene where, you know, his arm is just getting fucked. That shit looks gross.
Oh yeah, where he's sitting on the throne in the stadium?
No, I'm talking about where he like turns into like the giant.
Oh, he turns into an amoeba. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That was nuts. That must have been so hard to animate, and especially in the 80s, but man, good fucking shit. You know, whoever animated that, good fucking shit, man. But the story, you know, is unique. It has a little bit of familiarity in it, and that's not a problem. You know, I just didn't want it to be cliche, and it wasn't. It actually took a really nice turn. And it goes from this movie of Tetsu wanting power to Canada just trying to save one of his best friends. You know, and the story is great. Canada also is a really good character. Also, fantastic. that's one of my issues with the movie. Kind of the characters for the most part are kind of just there. Tetsu's a good character. I like him a lot. Canada's a good character. Um, that was actually pretty much it. Oh, the Colonel. I like the Colonel a little bit, but again, the characters are kind of just there. They don't really do much because the story, and I'm not necessarily blaming it on the movie because the movie's so focused on Tetsu because it's his movie. It's Tetsu's own movie. You know, the whole story revolves around Tetsu, and you know the movie's really trying to put emphasis on his story, and I appreciate it 100%. But I think the characters could have been fleshed out a little bit more. But again, the ending to this movie, this is where Jaden comes in. I don't understand the ending to this movie at all. I understand the message that the power overtook him and Akira wanted to basically reverse it and take the power back. But and he wanted to become a person also. But I don't understand like the final moments when like the whole shit explodes. I don't understand that. So could you shed some light on the ending for us, good sir?
So that's all I'm here for, good sir. All right.
No. I love
Nah,
you.
I'm joking. All right. So the ending of Akira. So just to touch up on that ending. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to try and on like your first watch, when you watch it for the first time, it's really hard to sit there and say, yep, I understand the movie 100%. And I feel like that goes a long way. I feel like that goes with every single movie you watch. But for Akira, it goes a long way because throughout the movie, you start to realize things. And when you start putting puzzle pieces together, naturally you start to understand the severity of Tetsuo gaining these ESP powers, the severity of you know, him growing and not being able to control the power. And really the whole point of Akira was to show how the whole point of Akira, the actual like life form, because Akira was a life form and it was naturally a kid. But this kid developed ESP powers, and along with the 3 other kids that were within the testing facility, Akira ended up having ESP powers that destroyed a city, and they were out of control and they was contained, hence the beginning of the movie. So it kind of gives you the beginning of the movie, and I want to touch back on that beginning of the movie. You never expect the movie to start out like that. Like that's only some shit I'd see in Deadpool. Like imagine the beginning of a Deadpool movie and him just getting shot in the face, and then he's like, hey, like, you know, this is Deadpool, and it's like you don't expect something like that. So for there just to be an explosion, you're kind of sitting there like, whoa, like what the hell? I thought it was, like you said, I thought it was about like biker gangs and all this. But with the ending of Akira, Tetsuo starts to lose control of the power, and he's sitting on top of a throne in the old stadium of the old city that was blown up. And Colonel Shikishima, I think his name was, tells Tetsuo, hey, you know, I can give you what you want. I can give you the medication that you need. But Tetsuo, not wanting to be under someone's control, not wanting to be bossed around, would rather not do that. He'd rather just stay as he is, and he wants him to bring him the medicine so that he can feel better, rather than having to stoop down to his worst hatred and fear that he's always, you know, tried to stay away from. So his whole point of the whole idea for Tetsuo and this resentment he has towards, it's not really like a resentment, because it's displayed as a resentment towards Kaneda, but it's really not. It's more like he didn't understand why Kaneda was like that. We'll touch on that in a second. Why Kaneda treated him the way he was. But he tells him, I can give you a capsule. And if you remember, if you've ever seen the back of Kaneda's jacket, it's a capsule that says good for your health, bad for education. And really it's because they're a drug-induced gang, basically. They make their profits, and they do everything by selling drugs. It's basically what it is. And in the scene where they're in a bar, those capsules are especially important because it signifies, it allows the watcher, the viewer, to really get into Tetsuo's mindset. You get to see how he's fiddling around with these capsules, these drugs, these pills. He's fiddling around with them like it's no problem. But just a minute ago, 30 seconds ago, he was on the bartender's the bartender's, I guess, I don't know, like the table. He was on the front table, and he's writhing in agony because he's hurt. He's hurt. His head is hurting. Everything's hurting. But all of a sudden, he's got these capsules, and everything makes him feel better. So he feels like these capsules are gonna make him feel better. These capsules are gonna allow him to become stronger.
See, and that's what I was.
Allows him to gain dominance.
If I can interject, that's what I liked. That's what I was touching base to. How the story. I loved how the story went from him wanting to find Akira. He was power hungry. He went from that, and then towards the end, you know, he's fucking scared out of his mind. You know, he doesn't know what the fuck is happening to him. You know, I love that the story took that turn.
Exactly, it's a very good turn. Indeed, I 100% agree, because you start to see how his mental stability starts crumbling the more that he starts seeking for something stronger. He's looking for Akira. This search for Akira is just, it's killing him. It's literally killing him. But he keeps going. But these capsules that they had, the capsules were something that brought all him and his gang together. See, what I love about Akira, I think personally my favorite thing, was the symbolism and subtlety that everything in the story had. Everything in the story meant something.
Yeah.
It's like Akira's jacket, not Akira, Kaneda's jacket, it's like a hint towards like what the capsules are supposed to mean. Kaneda's bike means something. Akira means something. Tetsuo means everything in the story has some sort of symbolism that connects it to a deeper meaning that the viewer is supposed to gain from the movie. And you start to see that throughout the end. Everything starts to come into fruition. But back to explaining the ending. So, Tetsuo's with I forgot his girlfriend's name, but he's
Roshi.
there with her, and he realizes what's her name?
Roshi, I think.
There you go. So he's with her, and she's saying, you know, Tetsuo, like, you know, we can leave, and he's saying, you know, he's hurt because the capsules that he took before wear off, so naturally his pain is coming back and it's getting stronger. And his girlfriend sees that his right arm starts becoming like metal. He made a metal arm, but then that arm starts to become very loose, and you see wires start hanging out, and suddenly it starts becoming out of control. Now, the thing with that, because nobody really understood what that meant, because soon enough, as the ending is progressing, you see the captain, like his arm just starts becoming this flesh-eating like limb almost. Is this attachment of his arm that's just a flesh-eating limb. It's literally like trying to eat everything, and consume everything. And however, hero of the day, the main man himself, Kaneda, comes in. No, not wearing the jacket, unfortunately, but he's on his famous red bike. He's got a laser. He shoots the arm, and it lets go of the kernel. And this is where you really start to get into it. This is like after he shoots the arm, and Tetsuo can learn each other's name for the final time, like Naruto and Sasuke. You really, this is where the ending is at, because they start trying to duke it out. And Kaneda's just on his bike trying to dodge and weave Tetsuo while Tetsuo's trying to hit him and kill him. But Tetsuo starts losing control of his power, and he ends up not becoming human anymore, but he becomes this amoeba. Now, an amoeba is an organism. If I remember correctly, an amoeba was basically like an organism that started consuming everything. So he himself becomes one of that. He becomes something that, instead of becoming what he wanted to be, strong, not under anyone's control, he became the opposite. Something that nobody can control. And in reality, that's something nobody wants. And for him, it's not what he wanted. And he starts to realize this as he starts growing and growing and growing. Akira itself ends up having to use its consciousness, because Akira is it's a life form, but I'll explain that later, an energy. Akira starts having to become conscious to realize that if Akira is saying to himself, if I don't take this person down, if I don't do what I need to do, the events of 30 years ago are going to happen again. When everything got destroyed, the events of 30 years ago are going to happen again.
That's ironic. Because
it was Akira that caused the events of 30 years ago. So he starts losing control, but he ends up trying to reach out to Kaneda, screaming his name, and naturally Kaneda wants to help him, because as much as Tetsuo says that he's hated Kaneda, in reality, Kaneda doesn't really hate him. Kaneda doesn't hate him. He just wants him to be okay. He wants to look out for him and take care of him. So Tetsuo ends up absorbing a lot of people, including Kaneda, including, oh, there her name is, Kaori, trying to absorb everybody. And with this, Akira ends up having to step in and call for help for the Espers in order to release him, which releases this white ball. And through that white ball, it starts to absorb Neo Tokyo. And now you start to get into Tetsuo's head, and it replays his beginning, his flashbacks, and what's happened to him as a child. And it also explains how these kids got like that, how these kids got the way they were, how, you know, they look so demented and destroyed, and the reason why Akira happened. But the main part of the ending that a lot of people have to really look for is the fact that, one, Coyote called Kaneda back, which means that Kaneda is able to retain his consciousness and he's able to retain his body, although being in a wild, like, psychic storm. But the main part is that right before everything is done and over, not the whole movie, but before that psychic storm, right before it's over, Kaneda and Tetsuo have a moment from way back in their childhood when Kaneda and Tetsuo both got beat up. And as Tetsuo's cleaning himself up, Kaneda brings him his toy and he says, "Oh, this is yours." And they introduce each other. And from there, it's kind of like a reminder for Tetsuo, as he's replaying that in his head, that all along he wanted to feel like he was strong. He wanted to feel like he was powerful. He didn't want to be controlled. Mm-hmm. You know, he wanted to feel like he was the top. I mean, and Tyler, you know, you understand. Throughout the story, what does the first person on a bike do? It's Tetsuo on Kaneda's bike.
Yeah.
That infamous red bike, and a lot of people see it and they're like, damn, like, that's a nice bike. And, you know, Tetsuo saw the same thing. I mean, that's what got him and his girlfriend beaten up, because the clown gang saw that he was on that red bike. Which,
by the way, that scene where they got beat up, I cannot see them doing that in 20. And whenever they make this movie, that scene's getting cut.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
That scene is getting cut. I would love to see it in live action because that scene is great, but they're not doing that. I'm sorry, they're not doing that. No way. If you guys have seen the movie, you know why.
You know the main character's a straight up, like, badass when not only does he kick somebody off from a bike, he proceeds to run, jump on the person's bike, kick him off the bike, grab him, and then let his friend beat him up. And then act like nothing happened. Like, Kaneda's just a G. So, Akira's, like I said, back to explain the ending. So as Akira's consciousness and his psychic storm is kind of enveloping everything around him, almost enveloping the entire city. At the end of this, Takashi, which was one of Tetsuo Kaneda's friends, he pulls Kaneda out of that white storm. He calls him. He says, "Yo, Kaneda, I remember you." And Kaneda wakes up and he realizes, "Oh crap! Like, I'm still here." Mm-hmm. And the same thing was how this is also when Tetsuo replays the memory of Kaneda standing up to the bullies for him. And what happens is at the end is that everything, all the buildings and everything is destroyed. Like how Tyler was describing in the beginning of the movie, it's like this futuristic city where buildings are unfathomably tall and there's just thousands and thousands of them. Like this whole city envelops the entire planet. It's gone. Everything is dirt, dust, destroyed buildings, and water. And as Kaneda is kneeling down on this as the old where the stadium used to be, and he's standing on a pile of tall rubble, he's kneeling down, and Akira, the little consciousness that he had, enveloped Tetsuo and took him to another plane of existence so that he can control him, and he can ultimately control the power that Tetsuo had. And at the end of the movie, after everybody's, the three characters, Kaori, Takashi, and Kaneda, they're rejoicing, and they're trying to figure out what's the next steps. But at the end of the movie, and Colonel Shikishima as well. At the end of the movie, Tetsuo says all he says is, "I'm Tetsuo," and it's cryptic to a lot of people, but it actually just says that Tetsuo still exists. Yeah. And along with the Espers and along with Akira. And Tetsuo not only exists inside Kaneda, because Kaneda cuffed him in his hand, but it exists inside Kaori and Takashi and every other character in the entire, in the movie's universe. Tetsuo exists within them. And yeah, that was basically the end of Akira.
Wow. This movie, people say Akira is one of those movies that, it had a big impact on anime. It really got it going, you know, because it showed people, listen, the same thing movies can fucking do, so can we. While you guys are over here claiming this horror movie's great, this action movie's great, we can do the same shit, just in Japanese and in animated form. We can do the same shit.
Straight up.
You know, and I'm so happy that, you know, I'm really excited for the live action thing. You know, now when it comes to live action anime movies, we have Ghost in the Shell, which I heard wasn't too bad in terms of the anime. You know, I heard it was actually pretty faithful. We had Dragon Ball Annihilation. Then we have
keep going after Dragon Ball.
Forgot. There's a couple more. Oh, we have Avatar: The Abomination, which I just reviewed. Oh my god.
I mean, that one scene with Zuko, but then again, it was.
No, Jada, no. So they have a good director, Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi is the GOAT. You know, right now he's on a roll. He made Thor Ragnarok, which was fucking incredible, and Jojo Rabbit, which was also incredible. So you have a competent director. And if you guys saw Thor Ragnarok and you guys saw the way that universe looked, imagine what this man is gonna do with Neo Tokyo. This man is gonna be given Neo Tokyo, and it's gonna be like a kid in a toy store. One negative that I had, the only negative, I felt the terrorist plotline was a little unneeded. Now, what I mean by that is, the whole movie was focused on Tetsu, for the most part. And all of that stuff is amazing. The thing that I had the issue with, there's a point where our characters go and they join these terrorists to complete a mission, or whatever. And it kind of takes away from the movie a little bit. Just for a little bit. It kind of takes away. But it was kind of needed at the same time because it had to get the characters in specific places. But at the same time, I just felt it took away from it. That was my only big negative. Other than that, I think this movie is fucking incredible. You know, it takes a couple of watches. I'm gonna revisit this 100%. This movie is incredible. The animation is groundbreaking. I really think it's groundbreaking. The animation in this movie is picture perfect. And, you know, if somebody had this as like a top 10 movies of all time or something, I wouldn't even refute it. It's that good. I think it's that damn good. You know, and this movie got me excited to keep going through my journey of anime. Yes, I plan on having more anime reviews on here, whether it be a review for Cowboy Bebop or a review for My Hero Academia when I get to it. You know, I plan on having more anime reviews. Because quarantine, let's face it, quarantine's fucking boring as shit. And I need something to do. And, you know, my friends don't leave me alone with this shit. So I figured, what more of a perfect time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed making it, and I enjoyed having Jaden on this because I could not give you the explanation that he just gave you. He gave you like the Wikipedia explanation as to what this movie meant. So I'm glad I thought of him when doing this, and hopefully he's back when we start doing these anime reviews. So thank you, good sir.
Wait, before you go, can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Here's the thing about Akira. Now, a lot of people are gonna sit there and be like, "Yo, like, oh, it's just a movie. It's just Akira." Like, yeah, Lupe Fiasco said it in one song. Kanye said he loves it. Chris Brown said it's like one of the greatest things. But you gotta understand, it's 1988. Animation is not that good yet. I mean, Gundam didn't come out till 1979, right? Mm-hmm. That was when the original Gundam came out, and that was like 1970s. Like, Tyler, you remember the 1970s Transformer animation? Like, Gundam was based off of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then in 1984, you get Dragon Ball. But then, you know, with all these anime that are coming out and people are starting to develop more, Akira, like this almost like this black sheep just comes out of nowhere, and it just fucks everybody's mind up. Because you're kind of sitting there like, what connection does this have with all these developing shows? It's something that's standalone. It's something that is so like just alone in itself that it has so much power on its own.
Ghost in the Shell was like that too.
Yup, and Ghost in the Shell, they just released the series on Netflix. Like, it's still continuing, but it's so isolated in the way that the storytelling, the development of the show, and the popularity of the show has. It's almost like a perfect circumstance. Like, the reason why the show is this way is because of everything that's in place. Like, everything is just in place for it to be this good, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're looking to go watch Akira, please, like, understand this isn't a movie you can only watch once and sit there like, I can understand everything. You gotta watch it like twice or 3 times. Understanding everything about the capsules and Kaneda's bike, and Tyler, we didn't even go over the infamous motorcycle scene. The one where the Akira slide. You ever heard of the Akira slide?
No.
Very popular in a lot of shows. So remember the chase scene when Akira and the big fat Eric-looking clown are going up against each other and they're driving straight towards each other?
Yeah.
So in that scene, after the clown crashes out, Akira slides. I mean, not Akira, I'm sorry. Kaneda slides. He slides with his bike and takes off his goggles, and then his 2 friends join him. That slide was the pioneer for, like, not pioneer, but more like it started a wave of different shows using it. Teen Titans used it. Robin used it in one episode. Finn used it in an episode. Almost every like cartoon has used the Akira slide in some episode. Rappers talk about it. Like, Akira is something huge. So if you're really gonna get into Akira, just know you're entering a world that you're gonna have to understand a lot. It's not a bad world, but you gotta really like think deep about what everything means in the show.
It's kind of like the Matrix a little bit. The Matrix is another thing. The Matrix used slow motion, and every fucking movie studio and their mother, oh, we can do that. No, you can't.
Basically.
Only they fucking couldn't, because the Matrix was something special. Every other movie that attempted and failed, because there are some movies that did it right, but every movie that attempted to use slow motion in a unique way and failed big fucking time. And that's because they tried to remake the Matrix. That is gonna do it for this. Again, I really enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this, because I enjoyed doing it, and you know, I feel like this is gonna be really fun getting into anime now. So please check out our reviews for the Last Airbender movie, which oh man, you want to see a rant? And our hilarious review of Batman and Robin, which another joy that we did. Be on the lookout for our next series, which will be the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm very excited for that. I get to watch 3 of the best movies ever. Well, 2 of the best movies ever. I kind of just spoiled my opinion for one of the 3. That's not here nor there. And please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be on the lookout for more videos very soon. Sayonara, and stay safe in quarantine. Later, guys.